What we think, we become. I heard that statement a lot. So is that really true? Or is there something else behind of that statement? So first of all, we need to understand and to discover for ourselves that we didn't choose our thoughts. We didn't choose what thoughts we will have each moment. If that is true, so then we will have no problems. We will have all the time choosing these nice thoughts or pleasant thoughts, which that is not the case. Sometimes the thoughts are ours, which the life puts in us through our makeup, through our conditioning. And sometimes are the thoughts from the world where we live in, what we see and what the world perceive and give us, and what we think about that. Sometimes our thoughts are from our families, from our mother and father. And if we don't discover for ourselves our thoughts, then we are in cage, like the bird. We are the prisoners of our thoughts. And then we are fighting with that, and then we want to rid of that thoughts, and we start having beliefs about that thoughts, and then the conflict because of that thoughts, and everything else. So there is a suffering. But when we go to discover, when we start discovering our thoughts and to inquire, we start seeing a lot of time that these thoughts are not here for the reason to punish us, but they are here just because of the world and how the body-mind are functioning. And we need to see it for ourselves when we start to inquire, that we will still have these thoughts, but we don't need to believe that thoughts to be as true. The problem becomes when we start believing that these thoughts are true. There is a truth. But we are beyond that thoughts. We are beyond that beliefs. Beyond that. And the very first problem began when we identified ourselves as a thought. This is all the time first problem. And when we start being identified ourselves as that many times, then we start to create our identity around that thought and the story. And when there is a story, there is identity, and there is a suffering. Because when we found ourselves in a situation when our story is not aligned with what's happening, and there is a belief behind that because that's who I am, this starts to intrigue ourselves, us, in that moment. So that means that we start to experience our heavy thoughts or our heavy feelings or whole identity, the whole story, which can cause the problem, which can cause suffering. So we need to first really to start to inquire what is true for ourselves, and what is true, what I believe. And when we start inquiring into that and to see for ourselves, all that beliefs what the world gave us will start fall away. And when they fall away, you will start experience that you are peace itself. That you have nothing to do with that thoughts. That is just a projection from the world. But you misidentified yourself. You misidentified your true nature with that belief and that thought. And that is a problem. The thought itself is not a problem, never was. Only your misidentification with that thought. Every time when we question ourselves, we come back to our true nature. So what we think we become, it is true and it's not true. When you misidentify yourself with that, so it will be true that who you really are as a thought and a story. So then it's true. And when you see for yourself that this is not that you choose to have that thoughts, So, but there you see that thoughts are appearing without choosing them. So then this is not true. That's what do you think, or what we think, that's who we become. And this truth holds the both water, the true and not true. So when you experience these thoughts, which you didn't choose, and when you put attention to it, and when you start confirming by your beliefs, then it can become true, and you start really to misidentify yourself with that thought and the truth of that thought gives you, and what are you telling yourself to be as a true. But if you are noticing that it's not your thought, and you question yourself, and these thoughts fall away, and also the belief about that fall away, then you will experience much more deeper yourself, who you really are beyond that thought and that identification. And this is really important, that we see for ourselves that we are not a doer of our thoughts. They are the projection of the world, which we perceive as to be true. And when you inquire and see for yourself, all that what the world gave you, you will notice as a blessing, because it will trace you back to that presence, to that who you really are in every moment. So what we think we become, if I question, it's not true. If I don't question, it can become true. So thank you for listening. Until the next time. Bye bye.